Hey, hey, hey. Hope everybody's doing good. Carl Bryan coming at you. The boy, Kenya Pat. What is happening, Kenya Pat? Have a good day?
Oh, no, what a great day. If I did any more, I'd be dangerous.
Well, that's what we like to hear on behalf of everyone who's benefiting from your insane genius and hard work. Good stuff. Good stuff.
We get a really good deal over here on bronze statues of yourself. I'm just thinking of one.
There we go. There we go, man. You're not going to need to do it yourself, though, man. I think everybody on this call. What do you think, everybody?
No.
Everybody want to chip in some money and let's get Pat bronze? What do you think? All right, buddy. What do we should do? Oh, what's that?
Yeah, well, last time I was out on safari, I got a beautiful big wood carving of a warthog that sits in my living room. So
there we go. This is the
we're
beginning.
looking for a meerkat or something. We'll get there's that pair from Lion King, the warthog Pumbaa and the meerkat. Get a pair of those, yeah.
I'm picturing you like the Heisman, like in a running stance with your arm out. That's what I'm picturing for your statue, buddy. All right, everybody's here. Let's say hello to these folks. See who agrees with me. Put up your hand if you agree that Pat should have his own statue. Actually, no, don't do that. Don't do that because then we're going to get confused with who's got questions. On that note, folks, Q&A call. You guys provide the Q. We provide the A. If you've got a question, you just raise your hand or plunk it in the box, and we will we'll holler it out. So on that note, let's go say hello to a few folks. Let's find somebody with a cool name, because that's a cool thing to do. Who's got a cool name? Tuck. What's this? Tuck Mixon. Damn, Tuck Mixon. Here we go. Tuck, we're coming to say hello. Haven't seen this name, I don't think, so I'm going to guess you might be new. I apologize if I'm wrong. Tuck Mixon, we're trying to say hello, buddy. You're self-muted. You gotta unmute yourself at your end if you want to say hello. There you go. Tuck, you're live.
Hi. Thanks for the welcome.
You bet. What's happening? So if I look at your driver's license, what's the name on there? Is it Tuck Mixon?
Tucker.
Is that?
It's
Tucker. Oh,
Tucker's
even
the
cooler.
full name, yes.
Tucker Mixon. Shoot, man. Your parents. Well done. You got good parents, man, with a name like that. Good job. So give us the 101. What's Tuck up to today? You got? Are you reasonably new with us?
I joined on Thursday.
Oh wow!
So I'm brand new.
I thought a name like that I would have recognized it. So how's it going so far? Give us the 101 on Tuck. Everybody's listening.
It's great. Right now I'm had Walt's call yesterday, that first call, so I'm head down, goggles on, getting all that stuff done.
Goggles on, like a pilot, like an old school pilot.
Yeah, you got it.
Let it go. And what's your background, Tuck? Give us the 101.
Marketing and sales. Probably about the past 15 years, marketing and sales, training and consulting.
So this feels like something, a bit of an organic fit for you, I take it?
So when I saw the profit acceleration software, I couldn't believe what a great fit it was.
Boom. That's what we want to hear. Well, wait till you see over the next, we've got 4 folks working on that bad boy, hammer and tong. So put your seatbelt on. In 6 months when you look at it, you're not going to recognize what you see. And hopefully what you see so far is pretty cool. So that's good. We appreciate the compliment. Cool. Amazing. All right, Tuck. Well, good to meet you, buddy. Going to put you back on mute. No worries, bud. Okay, we're going to go to next. Actually, right beside Tuck is my boy, Tony Plies. Most of you have met Tony, but he's been around for years and years and years. So let's say hello to Tony. Tony Plies. Hey, you're live, buddy. What's going on?
Just hanging around for years and years and years.
Good stuff. That's it, man. That's it. We're having a good time.
We're
crushing it out there in the old consulting world. Give us the 101 on Tony's world.
Well, right now, just working with looking to see what's going to happen in a new category for business, and I've got a Zoom meeting coming up with them tomorrow. It's a group of insurance agents, and
Oh yeah.
going to see how that's going to kind of work out. I think I've got my strategy in mind here, but I got to get some questions answered first from them, and it's just a preliminary meeting, but I think that it should go somewhere.
Cool.
Good.
If you want me to give you my experience with that, insurance agents are much like financial planners, mortgage brokers, realtors fall into the same, kind of service. You could put a blanket over all of them.
Right.
And what you're going to find is the ones that succeed are good at sales and marketing, but they're highly disorganized. So stuff like systems and CRM are going to lift that's what they need desperately is, like as an example, a CRM and like a drip campaign can really change the life of a good mortgage broker or insurance agent.
Oh yeah.
Because they keep, this one, right? You've got a sales and marketing background as well, but again, it's constantly looking for the kill, but then not following up on any level. And that's a big mistake.
And I know that's a big one with them as well. And we've talked to them a little bit about their hot buttons, kind of like with the CPAs, but they're a little bit different. But I like the fact that they know how to sell.
Yep. 100%. I like it. So what else you got cooking?
Well, I wanted to tell you too that I got through that. Actually was kind of one of those things when my insurance agent called me up and he said, "Hey, I got some news and some bad news." And I'm like, well, usually that goes good news and bad news. He goes, no, well, the news is I'm leaving State Farm. The bad news is they're not going to renew 3 of your 41 policies. So I'm like, well, how come? Well, because you made 3 weather-related claims in 10 years. I'm like, well, I've been paying them premiums for 40 years. So, what do you get with that? But anyway, so there's going to be, I think, from the State Farm aspect, a big influx or outflux of insurance agents because it's costing them a lot of policies.
There we go. And so what you're thinking, so folks listening, so one of the things that Tony does, he's built a team of coaches. So Tony, you're also looking at this from the standpoint that insurance agents leaving, becoming business consultants? Would
entirely.
That be something else on your?
Yeah, entirely.
Okay.
That's what
Got it.
And it's kind of funny because one of their hot buttons was losing policies, to someone with a lower rate or, a company shift like State Farm did. And so when I was talking with them, I'm kind of like, well, what if you could fix those? And that got a lot of silence because they were listening. So we'll see where it goes.
Cool. I like it. Okay. Keep cranking, buddy. I'm going to put you back on. Any questions around the software? If we pressed you for a question, what would you ask?
Well, I sent one in to Pat a couple of days ago, and he said it was kind of funny that he got that same question from someone else in the same day. And it was just on the business valuation where it doesn't figure it right on the summary page.
Right.
Looking at the growth, it's actually taking that percentage, I believe, of the initial growth, not the projected growth. So Pat's on it.
That I am. Yep.
Cool bananas. Okay, Tony, we appreciate you, buddy, and your magic. We're going to put you back on mute here, bud. There we go. Speaking of somebody who's been around for a few years, Steve Cantrell, who I believe works pretty closely with Road Dog, a good buddy of mine. Steve Cantrell. Oh, look at that. He's already unmuted. You're live. What's going on, Steve?
That'd be me.
What's happening?
Yeah, not much. Getting ready to go out and play some golf.
Well, there you go.
This is
I
the
wish
golf
I was getting ready to play some golf. You what?
Yeah, this is the golf networking day.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Is that the plan? Are you doing around with somebody who you plan to stick a fork in them by the 18th?
Well, actually, it's a shotgun and it's a best ball foursome, and there is last week was 40 of us.
Wow, nice.
So
Cool.
it comes out, and it's every 2 weeks. We go out, the guy that runs the group puts it together at all of the different golf courses. And the
Yep.
names wouldn't mean any different, but the last two of them have been in the top tier golf courses here in the Scottsdale area.
Cool. So this is a networking thing. These are all business guys.
Absolutely.
Cool. For everybody listening, well, Steve, again, obviously you enjoy golf. Would that be stating the obvious here?
Somewhere around 8 years old is when I started. Yeah.
Yep. So something you might want to think about is like, running a similar thing, right? This guy's got 40 business owners together. You're going and you're, going to be part of your foursome to do. And no doubt you're going to go have a beer or whatever afterwards with the other, 36 folks. If you like that and you feel that it's something you're participating in, which normally means that, it gets the 5 stars, you might want to think about setting something like that up yourself. In fact, have you ever thought about that?
I have thought about that, and listening to the horror stories that he's gone through, it's taken him about, I think 5 years to get to the point he's at right now.
Yeah. Give me an example of a horror story of golf networking.
It has not too much with the people, but I think it has to do with the courses themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that, you'll set something up and they don't come through or they don't provide.
Okay, well, let me frame this differently. How would you like to have a $300,000 a year coaching business falling off a log? And would you be willing to put up with a few headaches from a golf company, from a golf course in order to get that?
Okay.
Follow my logic?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, look, let me just tell you this. So what it's golf, it's pickleball, it's whatever sport you want.
Right.
Tennis, etc. You can do something similar. You can get everybody together to have a beer at a local brewery, and take them to different craft breweries. Really what you're talking about is networking. I've talked about this at different times on my podcast and probably here. But like I'm going to frame this up differently. Steve, I'm not just doing this for you. I'm doing it for the benefit of everybody listening who
Absolutely.
might also be an avid golfer or an avid pickleball player or whatever. You could do something similar to what this guy is doing. He's got 40 business owners together today, one of which is Steve, who's hoping to get a little bit of business out of it. Well, I guarantee the guy who's running it is going to get a little bit of business today. But he'd have to be the worst businessman in the world with the worst offer to not get something happening in that environment. So anyway, let me frame this up a little bit differently. My first ever business coach made $330,000 in his first 6 months as a business coach. Okay. Understand that I headhunted him and we were always going to do really well. But basically what happened is I went to him. This is a significantly longer story than this, but I'm going to give you guys the Coles notes and hopefully the powerful bits. But I sat down with him and I said, he was interested in what I have. I was interested in what he had. And I basically said to him, okay, what do I buy from you for $10,000? Okay. It's a very common question that I asked. He didn't have an answer. He knew that he should. He kind of had one of those looks on his face like, damn, I should have an answer for this. Basically, I then said to him, okay, guess what? I'm going to help you. We're going to make a lot of money because I'm going to help you with that $10,000 unit. What we did, guess what the $10,000 unit was? It was business consulting. Because really ask yourself the question, do people really need networking? Do they need to show up around a round table, like a name badge on their breast and then, sit beside somebody that they hope is of, whatever, like a synergistic business of themselves, like a business coach sitting to an accountant. But unfortunately, if you sit beside somebody who's not right for you, you could light the better part of an hour on fire. Anyway, so what I said to him is, why don't we do the networking for free? Oh, and by the way, his unit of sale was $800. And that was for 12 months of networking. And I said, and how much money do you make? And it was like a little over $100,000. And this was back 15 years ago. So I said to him, well, why don't you do that for free? Pour gasoline on your lead generation. A byproduct of that is you're going to crush the competition, because if you're doing this for free and then they're trying to do it for $800, there's a pretty good chance that the word's going to get out over the next 12 months and they're all going to come to you. And now you could do the networking for free. Do they really need networking? On a scale of 1 to 10, rate their elevator pitch. Of course, they were horrible. Rate their business model, horrible. I said, so do they really need networking, or do what they really need is some consulting and a proper roadmap? And of course, he agreed with me on a proper roadmap. So what we did is he brought them in for free. He led them into what's called a sales and marketing audit, which if you look at, well, if Pat, can you just hit XYZ daycare for us? So if you look at the Profit Jumpstart, basically you look at the Profit Jumpstart 12, similar, different, but very similar, right? Where we asked them a bunch of questions, created a roadmap that they could then follow. And then at the end of it, they would either pay $10,000 or not. So if you think about it, only 3 in 10 of his clients would actually spend the money. 7 of 10 were then free, but the 3 in 10 were paying 10 grand instead of the folks paying 800. So we ended up, and by the way, he also I helped him with a $25,000 unit of sale as well, which was a ramped up version of consulting. So instead of an $800 unit of sale, he had a $10,000 unit of sale, a $25,000 unit of sale, and then he was providing business owners consulting, which is what they actually needed. And then there's one other little X factor to this, and I've told this story, so if you guys are on here, and I'm saying it again, I apologize, but it's a good one. And then the other thing, in that it's good if you like the idea of a business model that really works. So the other thing I taught them is that people want 2 things. They want to be educated and they want to be entertained. So I said, what you're like, he wasn't really educating them, in that when they came, he wasn't doing a bit of a 101. An example for Steve here, if he were to do this golf thing, I would get everybody together at the beginning and teach them a little bit about elevator pitches, the power of networking, the power of having a market dominating position, something like that to think about as they're going around the course, right? And then at the end, I would do another little educational dealio, and then people would network, etc. So they want to be educated. He wasn't doing a good job there, but also they wanted to be entertained. And if you give them the option between entertainment and education, they'll take entertainment all day long and twice on Sunday. So I said, what are you doing to entertain people? And he wasn't really doing anything. He was just sitting them down, going through the motions. So what are things that entertain people? Music, good looking people in the audience, agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. I got to change it. Good looking people in a room, change the dynamic in a good way. Telling funny jokes. He wasn't the funniest guy in the world. I said, why don't you get a comedian or, find some guys who are funny and get them to, intentionally be funny to the group, right? Ask them if they'll take that on. But basically just and getting people up and moving around versus spending, like if you've got 1 hour and you spend 40 of it sitting down versus if you have an hour and you spend 55 of it moving around, you'll have a significantly better time at the event where you're moving around. Anyways, so for Steve and everybody listening, networking can be an unbelievable way to get an enormous amount of coaching clients. And again, I'll say this in a different way. If you go to a networking function and there's a guy or gal standing up at the front and they're going to be the facilitator or the owner of the group, and if you guys are familiar with BNI, that would be the franchisee of BNI, and he's standing up there in his suit, doing his thing. He will get more referrals than he'll get more referrals than everybody else in the room combined, right? So if there's 10 business owners and there's, 4 referrals given out, which is kind of what that dynamic looks like, the guy at the front of the room will get more than 4 at that one event. And that might be a little bit of an exaggeration, by the way, and every situation can be a little bit unique, but what's not going to be unique is the person at the front of the room. In Steve's case, the guy who's running this golf networking, he's getting more business than the other 40 guys combined. And again, that might be a slight exaggeration, but hopefully you're getting the message, and that can be super powerful. So for Steve and everybody listening, a golf networking event might not be a bad idea and might be great for you guys to think about starting your own. Steve, over to you. What do you think of what I just said? Agree, disagree, comments, etc.?
I think the concept is absolutely right. The biggest thing is just getting off and doing it.
Yeah, that's it. And it's like anything, it's going to take a little bit of time. Like with this guy, it's taken him X amount of time, to get it up to the 40 people and whatnot. But I dare say that, you know, if it's taken him this long to get it up to 40, we're not talking about a superstar operator, right? It's more his inability to, you know, bring this all together as much as anything else. So,
Well,
but most
actually, I think
importantly,
total-
with 40 people, he's going to do some business. Sorry, Steve,
That's
go.
that's 40 people at the one event. All total in the organization, I think there's 300.
Even so, his emails that he send out, you know, again to 300, you know what I mean? Like, just think of what that could look like for your coaching company. And that's for you, Steve, and everybody else listening. Could be good. So there you go, buddy. Good stuff, man. Glad we opened up. Does that give you any ideas? But you've thought about it. Again, do you think that could you see how you could do a golf networking, a regular event, and bring in some serious coaching clients? Do you see that picture?
Yeah, it's a good possibility.
Yep. Okay. There we go. And then it's 80-20, you know, with your time. And it's just a matter of that's where you're going to spend your time. And that may or may not be something you're into. And for everybody listening, it's not like you need to go and build a networking group in concert with your coaching to do well by any stretch of the imagination, but might not be a bad idea. So, especially if you're that way inclined. And Steve clearly is, because he's about to flip off and go golfing, which is all part of this, guys. Pat, can I ask, is anything that I missed or something that you'd add there, bud?
Well, you're giving me good ideas here, but I got to keep my focus.
I love it. Okay, Steve, we're going to put you back on mute. Appreciate you, bud.
Thank you.
Yeah. Randy Kressel has a question.
I see that Randy Kressel. We're coming for you. There he is. Randy, you're live.
Hello, Carl. Thank you for taking my question. I found out that I have in my area an active group of sort of a competitor from Action Coach. Are you familiar with their group? And as I've looked at it, it looks like there might be a way where we can still work together side by side without being competitive.
Yep. Okay, I'll give you my immediate answer is that Action Coach is $85,000 to get started as a business coach, and about $2,000 a month, and then they offer something very inferior. If you go by what we have action guys that, like Blair Harding was the action coach, #1 action coach in the world for many years. He was our client for a long time. He went into something different, so he's no longer with us, but still in touch. Anyway, so I know the model very well. They, generally speaking, they do a lot of higher level, larger companies going to the guys doing, 5, 10 million, et cetera. So there's definitely a place for you to look after businesses trying to get to $1 million, and then for them to look after businesses doing more than $1 million. But that being said, do I see that as a joint venture? Not really. No, he's more competitive than anything else.
As I looked at their model, I thought they were more on teaching leadership as far as a business model rather than profit.
No, they do the gambit. They're more, they definitely do a lot of executive. I'd call it more executive coaching than leadership, but same, but again, bigger companies, generally speaking.
All right. Well, thank you for that. The reason I asked is they have a good foothold here, and they're blocking a couple of areas right now in my.
What do you mean blocking? Help me with that. What do you mean by blocking a couple areas? What's that mean?
Well, they have kind of a joint venture partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, and I would be in a competition level. I wanted to set up a similar situation, and they also do a podcast with our local media group here in town, and I wanted to do the same thing, and it appears that I'm blocked because the editor of the paper that does the podcast won't allow two coaches in on the same program. But
on what program? This is a podcast platform?
Yeah, they do a weekly podcast, which I wanted to do, in order to get my name out there and start contacting more people. It's all altogether part of a larger business journal, magazine, and newspaper that goes out to all the business owners in our area.
The podcast is connected to the newspaper and magazine and whatnot. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What I would say is, again, whereabouts are you, by the way?
In Santa Clarita, California.
No, cool.
Southern California.
Yes. Look, Randy, there's a little bit of your reticular activating system going on where, you know, you buy the red Mazda and next thing you know, all you can see are red Mazdas. You know, there's so much I've got a podcast. If you want to set up a podcast, take you about 15 minutes and your podcast would be live. Of course, that's an exaggeration, but you get the idea. Don't feel like you need to partner with them in, you know, this media group by any stretch of the imagination. Let's accept the fact that maybe gives them a little bit of an advantage, but who cares, right? You're going to have to work that much harder to get your podcast out there. So don't worry about that. And I've got to tell you, the local business owners, what you're describing to us, they wouldn't have a clue what the hell you're talking about. They don't know who Action Coach is. They don't know the name of that Action Coach. They don't know the magazine, the newspaper, and the radio station that are all combined as one media group. They don't know that either, and they don't care in any way, shape, or form. The business owner wants to know that somebody can come in and help them grow, you know, their revenues, their profits, and their business generally, in a strategic and sustainable way. So, yeah, I'd be careful with thinking that these guys have a foothold on anything. Would you agree with that, Randy? Am I helping? Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do. I think there's a way where we can maybe both work together, but that's something to be determined in the future. I did have a second question, though.
Yeah, please.
That was, have any of our coaches or you worked with automobile dealerships?
Oh, you know who we got to ask here? Tony Plies. Tony, I'm coming. Tony, one sec. I'm coming for you, Tony. Tony, can you help out Randy?
If you want car dealerships are tough to work with, and the way that I would approach them now would be through the digital profit acceleration software, because that is an avenue where they have to put 50% of their budget, this is from the manufacturers, into digital advertising. And although a lot of them will have a marketing manager or a digital manager, they don't have a plan. They are confused. They don't know the difference between a strategy and a tactic. They are tactic driven. And if you can come up with a strategy for them, one thing about dealers, when they do start spending with you, they're very loyal. But if you go with them from the sales standpoint of delivering units, which is what a dealership is all about, that's a lot tougher row to hoe. And it's one where dealers typically have shiny object syndrome, where they're always looking for the next silver bullet, and they'll have you for a month or two, maybe three. And if you're just not, having them turning cartwheels, they're going to go try something else. So I would approach them from the digital profit acceleration.
Cool.
Okay.
Randy, as you can see, Tony's got a ton of experience in that niche. So does that help? Is that what it is? Did you have a more specific question, or did that help?
No, that puts me right on the right direction. So work with the digital profit acceleration. Any particular version of that, the Jumpstart 40 or the 100,000?
Yeah, well, you start. Oh, go, Tony. Go,
well, I was just going to say, Carl, you probably have a better answer than I would, but I would look at the Jumpstart 40 and just pick out certain things, because they're not going to sit there long enough for the entire 40. But when you're talking about a sales staff and things like that, it might have something to do with them, but probably not. But, Carl, you can fill in there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And thanks, Tony. Appreciate that, buddy. Randy, so have a look at Pat's screen here. You see he's got the digital acceleration Jumpstart up.
Yes.
So this, you use the jumps. Think of the jump start and the jump start 12 and the profit acceleration. It's basically what you use to sell it. So I would use this to sell it. And then if you're going to go more in depth, you go to the digital acceleration deep dive, like Tony was just saying. So yeah, so the answer is that you'd go to the digital acceleration jump start to help create the framework for what they need to do in and around digital marketing and creating a strategy, a roadmap.
All right. Great. Thank you very much.
One more thing you want to take a look at, that auto dealers on an average across the nation have about $585 per vehicle that they deliver as an advertising budget. So you don't want to go in there and show them something really cheap, because it may not be enough to move the needle for them. And at the same time, when you're talking, the NADA average is about $2,000 gross front end and back end on a vehicle delivered. So you're not going to show them anything that's going to move iron for them at, you know, anywhere from $40,000 to $100,000 in incremental sales and do it for $1,000. They're just not going to believe you. So a dealer is one of those where you can go in and hit them up for, you know, $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, even $12,000 a month, and they'll pay it if you've got something substantial to show them. And I think the digital profit acceleration software gives them more documentation than they'll get from any local media company or any advertising agency, and they'll understand it because it puts an ROI to it. So you've got a lot working for you. But just remember, they're going to be, and the way I did this with dealers, when they would have me work with their digital managers, I would tell them, that's great, I'll work with anybody you want me to, but I need your support. You need to drive this. I need to have your ear, because the other side of the equation is that digital manager, unless it's a rare person, is not going to want to help you, because marketing and digital, they consider themselves the experts. They don't want anybody else coming in and telling them how to do it. And that's their job security, by knowing more than their general manager or the owner. So you want to make that person your friend and tell them you want to make them look good. And that's how you're going to need to start off with them, because otherwise they're going to do everything in their power to make sure whatever you put in front of them doesn't work.
And that is the digital marketing manager you're referring to.
Yeah, that's anybody that you work with outside of the GM or the dealer principal.
Okay. Now, some dealers are private and some are part of a large national group.
Right.
Are the national group dealers, are they accessible also?
That's going to be a lot tougher. What you need is to get a success with a local dealer that's part of a group, and they will introduce you to their group 20 or to their regional. But that's going to be a lot tougher, because you have 3 tiers of marketing. You're going to get national OEM, you're going to get regional, which is dealer group, and then you're going to get local, which is the actual dealer. So when you start getting into regional, you might be covering, like, there's an outstate Minneapolis, outstate Chicago, which is everything outside of Chicago, then Chicago Metro. Things like that. So you're talking months, and that's budgeted with national advertising agencies. So you're getting into a whole nother realm there where it's going to take a long time. But yeah, there is significant money. You know, last time I went after something like that, you know, I mean, you're talking, for them, $1 million is drinking money on the weekend. But that isn't where I'd want to spend a lot of time.
Okay. Would there be any way that you and I could talk at a different time, Tony?
Sure. Yeah, I'd be glad to tell you what I know.
All right. Thank you.
Randy, are you on the Facebook page? You're in Facebook group?
No, but I will join there, and I guess I can access Tony there.
Yeah, you bet.
Just hang on one sec, guys. I'm going to send an email with no text to both of you, and then you'll have it, and you'll be good.
Okay, thanks, Carl.
Thank you, Carl.
Oh, it's already sent. Okay. All right, boys. Well, there we go. And Randy, look, actually, before we shut you off, Pat, can I just throw it to you with Randy's first question? Remember, he was asking about Action having a little bit of a stranglehold. And by the way, Tony, if you want to chime in, feel free. Pat, would you add anything or subtract anything? Would you agree with what I said, that kind of an abundant mindset kind of thing, and his reticular activating system is playing games with them?
Yeah, I mean, the market for small businesses is so vast, and only an Action Coach can help how many people? 10 maybe. So think about the number of small businesses in the city. There could be 1,000. There's 990 that coach can't help. So one way to get top of mind, if you're going to do even like radio advertising at certain times of the day, I think there's lessons in the Elms about that. You could do a press release as well and talk about your ability there. Just, find ways to get in front of the public. I know that even like Facebook advertising is a way if you want to make a quick splash and start running Facebook ads, maybe bringing people to group events. So getting in front of a group, you show yourself very quickly to be an expert. But yeah, there's so much business there. How big is Santa Clarita?
We're probably about 350,000.
Oh yeah, gosh.
Now, just in our area.
Yeah, I mean, there's room for like 30 coaches there. So 30 coaches in your city. So just got to get your name out there and be consistent with that and deliver results. And if you've got someone who's tied up a couple of media sources, then you have to just go a different direction. I wouldn't try and compete there, but go in a different direction and tie up some other sources then maybe.
Yeah, Action Coach is not a competitor in any real form. They don't have the PAS. They don't have anything even close to that. And in fact, I've taken a client or two from Action Coach because Action Coach actually gives you a benchmark that you can outperform just on a very basic level for what they can deliver. I mean, I'm not cutting them down. I'm just saying that they make you look better. So when you can go in and show someone the PAS and show them an ROI before they ever spend a dime, that's huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Tony is 100% correct. Like Action's approach is very different than ours in that regard, Randy. So feel comfortable.
And that's why I felt there may be a way where we could somewhat work together, because they don't have, like you said, anything like PAS, and that could be a tremendous benefit to their clients.
Yeah, Randy, I just stopped right there. I would say Action Coach, their coaches often have a different view of what coaching is. And you'll find that there's a disconnect between people who call themselves coaches, like those in Action Coach, and those who, like from the purest point, when you start giving advice using the software, you're more of a consultant. And that's a lot of coaches are very proud of, like, we don't give advice, we only ask questions and we lead the client to find their own answers. And I just think that's kind of a little bit ridiculous. I think, you think of a sports team, you got a baseball coach and you got a peewee out there, and it's not like we're going to ask the peewee, hey, what do you think you should do? Like, how do you think you should think about it? Like, no, you know what you're doing. You go and give advice. You say, look, this is what you do first. This is what you do second. This is what you do third. And you know exactly what you're doing because you got priorities tab and you got an implementation tab. And you know exactly that you should be looking at digital costs and increase margins first, market dominating position next, for example. You can give advice, but I think a lot of Action Coaches, they have no idea about this and they don't want to do it. So I think you can create for yourself a market dominating position. And it might be that you run an ad in the paper, maybe it's a quarter page or something, saying, look, you may be used to seeing business coaches coming in and, saying, hey, trust me, I can lead you to success. Here at my coaching company, I show you the ROI from your investment, and I guarantee a 200% return on investment for my coaching services, as long as you implement the level that we mutually agree upon. Visit this link for more information, blah, blah, blah. And I bet you'll get some people tracking on that and checking you out on that. But you run that several times and add like that several times, you're going to get eyeballs on that. You're going to get visitors. So I would say don't bother wasting your time with an action coach, JV. I just go your own way. If you've got something more powerful than they do, they've got a name, but they don't have a system. And they probably have a different way of doing coaching than you do. And they're going to try and convince you to their way, because they've spent 80 grand buying their franchise, and they've got to justify its existence.
Exactly.
So
you're going to help them more than they'll help you. So I would not go that.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's good advice. I go my own separate way.
That's it. 100, look, again, think 80-20, right? And the time that you're going to spend talking to the action guy, building a relationship, all this stuff takes time, right? You could be the world's greatest networker, takes time. If you took that same time, energy, focus, and put it into the radio station, into the magazine, and the newspaper, and not the ones that they're already in line with, because there's lots of them, just have a look around, right? The guy who organizes the local awards, there's so many, the business brokers, the networking organization, just anybody going B2B, graphic designer, web designer, a digital marketer, the list is endless almost. Spend your time there, Randy, with 100% certainty. Like, no need to even think about it. Like, that's where you spend your time.
Thank you. That's valuable advice. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, there we go. All right, boys. Well, teamwork. Tony, appreciate that feedback there, bud. All right, we need some questions here, boys and girls. Sometimes we get flooded. Oh, actually, I know somebody who wanted to open up. Actually, David Shell, I can't remember if we opened him up recently or not. So many. David Sheldon, anyways, we're coming for you, buddy. You're self-muted. David Sheldon, we're coming. He helped out my buddy Road Dog recently. Yo, David, how's it going, buddy?
Good afternoon. I'm well, and you?
Doing great. Doing great. Can you remind me, have we opened you up recently to talk HVAC?
We talked about two calls ago.
Yeah. Where was that? Was that on the Monday? But that was on the Monday call, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't know. Not this. Probably a week ago or 2 weeks ago, Monday kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's all. So I wanted to look. Everybody's here listening. Speaking like Tony just gave us some invaluable advice for going to a car dealership and some of the magic. Can you give folks, you very successful HVAC companies, correct? Could you give us the 101 roadmap that you would follow with anybody here thinking about going to an HVAC company or something similar? Did you do that for us?
Oh, you're really putting me on the spot, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, Road Dog spoke to you because I sent Road Dog over to you, and he was singing your praises. So
He was.
Give us the 101, man. He was.
Well, there you go. Well, I guess I'm not sure where I need to start on this, but the contractor corner of businesses of that type of business are difficult to work with, because where they shine is not in running a business. Where they shine is not in marketing. Where they shine is head down, ass up, doing that type of work. And that's really all they think about. And they really don't spend any time working on their business. It's just in it. So what I put together is some things that work very well. And one is the fact that most of these guys, if they do advertising, they don't do any tracking. They don't have anything to know what's coming from the money that they're spending. But more importantly, what they don't know how to do is get more transactions from the marketing that they do. They don't improve or increase the conversions is really what I'm trying to say is conversion is so important. If you spend time at the very beginning when the phone gets answered by the CSR, then there's something that I put together. It's a package to make sure that they stand out different than everybody else in the marketplace, because almost all homeowners, if they're replacing a furnace or they're getting service, they're going to phone anywhere from 3 to 5 different companies. And if you can't shine and look different than the other 3 or 5 companies they're going to call, you're just it's all down to price, right? It's a race to the bottom. So you've got to get those business owners to understand that you have to teach the CSRs how to answer the phone, and that's number one. They don't know how to answer the phone.
There we go. And can you give us an example of what would be an example of a way that they would separate themselves from the competition? What's something they could say or something they could do?
Well, something they can do, of course, is the very first thing is, other than they talk so fast that they can't understand what they're saying, they comment.
Not a good idea.
Right? Yeah, they just blurt it out. So I've always taught my people, my contractors, just when they answer the phone to say, how can I make your day better? My name's David. You know, what can we do for you? Right? But what I really have developed that works well when I was talking to Road Dog was you need to have something that is basically, as we know, a market dominating position, or going back to the fundamentals, an interrupt. What are you going to interrupt them with? And you have to interrupt that caller by telling them something that they don't already know, something that you're going to help them with, like the 10 things to look out for when hiring an HVAC contractor. And offer that to the customer, offer that to the caller, the homeowner that's calling in, because I'll guarantee you those other 5 customers, other 5 contractors that they're calling are not saying anything like that. And you want to be able to offer that to them and say, hey, look, can I email this to you, the 5 different things to look at, to be careful of when hiring a contractor? Well, they're going to say, well, sure, of course. And then number 1, you got their email. Number 2, you've just differentiated yourself totally compared to everybody else.
Mm-hmm. I would say, Dave, if I could, for everybody listening, when I said about networking, people they want to be educated, they want to be entertained. Again, how many HVAC companies are educating the person that's calling? But you got to slow down. There needs to be a voice of authority there, right? Like, look, here's the things you got to work out with. But having that document, I could totally see how that would totally separate them. Okay, Dave, back over to you. You were going to go to number 3 for everyone.
Well, a third is, of course, by doing those 2 things, you're going to close more customers. So you don't need to spend as much money on advertising. So you'll lower your advertising budget, which is, part of what our PAS shows. And lowering that spend means increases your profitability. But if you very inexpensively put together a package for them to give to that caller, and it closes more deals, it's better for everybody. And you're not wasting money.
That's it. So it comes back to what you started with, though. They are not good business people, so therefore they don't understand the power of what you described, where they're not thinking profits. They're just thinking revenue, revenue, revenue. Would that be fair?
That'd be totally fair. They're looking at revenue. They're looking at, getting more calls in. So if they do advertising, and many of them don't do advertising, what most of them believe is the most important thing to their business in the HVAC industry is that they carry a brand that everyone knows, like Carrier or Lennox or something like that. Well, that doesn't do anything. They don't do any marketing for you. They're just there. I mean, they've been around for a long time, but these contractors think that's going to make the phone ring. It doesn't make the phone ring. They're just too bloody lazy to spend some money and hire someone like a coach to teach them how to do some proper advertising and really go through some fundamental parts of it. I mean, getting more transactions. I mean, these are all words everyone on this call knows and understands. Just narrow that down. How do you get more transactions? Well, I'll tell you a little
Yeah.
thing that I did. The wholesalers have hundreds of products sitting on the shelves that sell to the dealers. The dealers don't even know how to promote them to the homeowners. So I wrote a program to say, here, offer this to your customers once every 2 months. You email it out, and all of a sudden the sales go up because you're actually working your list and offering them something that more than just a furnace and just an air conditioner. I mean, it's unbelievable because they're not business people. They're just technicians. And I shouldn't mean that. I don't mean that in a bad way. A lot of them are fantastic technicians, but they really don't understand the business side of it.
Yeah. Actually, you bring me like with the brand names, and I don't need to go and do the homework on this, that the brand names, they make the slightest, the lowest margins versus the companies that don't have, the quote unquote brand name. And once again, they're not business people and they don't realize the power of extra hundreds or extra thousands in margin when they do go and install, the air conditioning, et cetera. An example, like what I used to do. So one of the things that they can do, and you got to be careful with this. When I used to own a hockey shop, I had a retail shop, and same thing. It's like, with skates, I had, hockey skates. So there were certain brands like CCM and Bauer that everybody came in to look at. But then there were other brands that I had significantly better margins, which Tour specifically was a brand. But anyway, so what I would do is I would do more selling against. So same thing, I would, if the phone rang and do you have CCM, do you have Bauer? The answer was always yes. And that was absolutely correct. I did have them. But when they came in, I would give them the skate. I would educate them. I'd say, this is a good skate. This is a bad skate. These are the best skates. And these are the reason why they're the best skates. By the way, this significant, this brand that you didn't come in for, but in my opinion is significantly better for these reasons. I'd sell them that, and then I'd make, better margins on a lower end, on a lower price skate. But again, average business owners aren't thinking like that. So again, your HVAC companies thinking along those lines, bringing them in with the big names and then selling against that stuff can be, a very profitable exercise. Now, the drawback, and that's not just, for you, Dave, but everybody listening. Now, the drawback of giving that advice to your client is that if the brand name finds out that that's what you're doing, then you can lose the right to sell their product. So you do need to be intelligent about this, but that that stuff happens with 100% certainty. So that's, there you go. But anyway, so that's cool. So that's the advice for HVAC folks.
Well, there's one other one that's a real secret. You want to know what?
Let's hear it, man. Go for it. Dun, dun, dun. Do we need a little bit of music before, now that you've built up the drama? Do we need some Steven Spielberg?
They need to be sold and not sold. They need to be presented a way to sell 5 levels of pricing. And the first level is called the Band-Aid. The second level is bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Now, your platinum is absolutely the best that you can put together. It's the most expensive piece of equipment. It's got the absolute best warranty of anything else. You add extra warranty to it. You go back in a year's time to make sure it's running properly, and you sell that platinum. But you only present the platinum. You present nothing else. But what you present is the platinum and show them, hey, we have other prices. What should we do? And a high majority of the time, actually it's 10 to 20% of the time, they will choose the platinum, but 50 to 60% they will choose somewhere in the middle, and only 10% will they choose the Band-Aid. But the Band-Aid is actually, if it's figured out properly, you price that to be what they normally sell all day long. So what happens is, whether it's in service or whether it's in new equipment, you actually increase. What do we talk about in here? Upselling. You do the upselling just by Mrs. Jones picking what she wants instead of telling. And their biggest problem is they go in and they tell Mrs. Jones it's going to be $800 for that repair. Whoa, my God, I'm a doctor. I don't make that much money. And Mrs. Jones gets upset. But if you give them a choice of 5 different things, and the bottom one being the Band-Aid, psychology fits that model to say, oh, I don't want the Band-Aid. Any of that
So
make
I want to
sense?
make sure I want to understand it, and I want everybody else to understand it. So if I go, the Band-Aid is $800 in your example.
So the band. So
Would
let's
that be a
say
mid? In your example, would
no. So
800 be mid-priced, or would it be the Band-Aid price?
okay. So let me explain it a little deeper. So
Yeah, please.
Mr. Contractor will use a service side. We're going in to service the furnace. Okay. So the contractor has a price of $800 to repair a Venture motor in the furnace. That's what he normally would sell it for, right? But what I'm going to build for him is I'm going to have 5 different prices. But that Band-Aid price is the price he normally sells it at and is the normal margin that he needs to have, or markup. There's another thing these guys don't understand the difference between margin and markup.
Yeah, of course.
But you worked it out for him. So if he sold it for that, he's still happy. But from there up, you have more service, more value added. And we talk about that a lot in coaching. You have to have more value. Don't just increase the price.
100%.
You got to have a better warranty. You got to have or more pieces to it. You know, add in some air filtration stuff, whatever that looks like, and get up to a platinum. Yep. And it's unbelievable how many people choose a platinum because, and I've had them say, well, I'm a platinum kind of person. That's what I want. Nothing to do with the price.
Love it. So 800 is Band-Aid price. What would platinum be on your? If that's 4 levels down, how expensive? What's the spread? 800 and what's platinum?
So 800 might be Band-Aid. 950 might be bronze. 1250 might be silver. 1600 might be gold, and 2400 might be platinum. So in the platinum, you have a super duper warranty, better than all the ones below. You've got all kinds of different techniques to help them make sure that that system is going to run properly, including going back at no extra charge in a year's time to make sure that piece of equipment is operating the same specifications it was when they fixed it. It's magic. It's magic.
Yeah. For anybody thinking, okay, this is something I need to learn to do, I just want you to picture yourself at McDonald's. You go in, you order yourself a burger and a Coke. They say, do you want fries with that? Or they say, do you want me to make that into a meal in this example? And then when you decide on the meal, they say, do you want me to supersize it? Thinking along those lines, you'll be doing well. Also, I want you to think of something hard with something soft. Dave, you mentioned multiple times a warranty. Had a client one time, we crushed it with the warranty, where basically this machinery, it was expensive. It was like $75,000 machinery. It was an oil and gas play. Anyways, and I said, so how often do these things break down? They said, never. I said, what's the warranty? I think it had a 1 or a 2 year automatic warranty. And I said, so how many of these, how long you been selling them? And it was for years. How many have broken down? He said, never. I said, well, why don't you charge $5,000 for a lifetime warranty? And they go, wow, that sounds like a great idea, right? And so $5,000, guess where that goes? Straight in their pocket. It gets better. As part of the lifetime warranty, we had to be able to show up 2 to 4 times a year to check on it, right? Because service, we made a lot of money on servicing them as well, right? You didn't want other people servicing them. So this kept that relationship going where we're coming anyways. And then also when you're coming to service it and when you're coming to do the checkup, it's basically another opportunity. When somebody spends $75,000 on a machine, believe me, they're in the market to buy some $25,000 machines, $50,000 machines, and $250,000 machines. So if you think about it, your service guy is like a sales guy in overalls, and he's basically rolling up to, he's got spidey senses looking around going, hey, they could buy this, they could buy this, they could buy that, etc. And the manager has to sign the paperwork before we leave. So again, now you're talking to the boss. So, and I just, Dave, if I can, so guys, what we're talking about here is something hard with something soft. So the extended warranty is soft, and then the machinery is hard. So in most cases, you'll have a lot of clients who are selling something hard. When you're thinking about putting together, like, what the hell does a platinum agreement look like? Think of some soft goods that you can throw in. like, rolling up twice a year to make sure that the extended warranty, that what are you checking for? You need to make sure that they're checking the oil, that the tires are pumped up kind of thing. Like, you don't want them beating on the machine. Otherwise your warranty is going to have issues, right? If they're looking after the machine, you don't have a challenge. So this is a soft good, right? The extended warranty is soft. There's not a huge, there's, in some cases there's zero hard cost. In a lot of cases, there's not a hard cost at all. So basically, like in the instance when they did the lifetime warranty, it was a $5,000 straight in the pocket. So anyway, so there you go, Dave. That's why I opened you up, bud. That was good. That was excellent.
Oh, great. Thanks. Well, it's just simple as knowing your market, knowing your customer, and work with them, and that's all it is. And know the problems they have. As as Adrian always said, the problem they have, they don't want, solution they can't find, and produce it. And that shows up as value, right?
Yep. I love it. And again, guys, so that's HVAC companies. Again, Dave's got a lot of experience with those guys. He said at the end, let me give you the secret sauce. All right. We did the dramatic music and boom. So he's saying that the 5 levels, when you're thinking about companies, it's not just HVAC, but there's so many, similar, thinking about putting together something like that for them. So I love it. Dave, Pat, anything you'd add in there, bud?
Yeah, just something David said in the very beginning about these HVAC companies. They're really going after the brand, like, hey, if I sell Lennox or whatever, that's going to bring in the business. The only reason they think that is because they've never been presented by a business coach that there's another option. And the business coaches out there, again, they're saying, hey, look, I can help you grow your business, or you should do Facebook advertising or whatever. And no one's taken the time to explain that there's a systematic way to grow your business. And there's, the whole pie chart of business growth possibilities that's posted. I think that's in, it's actually part of 100K training, I believe now. So just, they've never seen those possibilities before. And if you can go in there and just give them an education around that, I think that'll, you'll find a lot of benefit there and opportunity there. I just want to go in here really quickly and find that pie chart. Just for the new folks, if you're in the dashboard, you see training link, you go to 100K.
I don't think we don't see your screen, Pat.
I was on pause there. So on the left side, training on the left, you hit 100K. And in here somewhere, there's going to be a pie chart of business growth possibilities. You'll see that now. It's one of these in here. And if it's not there, it's on the day 2 maybe. So have a look in here and you can find that. I'm actually thinking I want to update that. It's a little bit strange. It's a very small thing here, Carl, but I want to change the pie chart to a layer cake. And it's not that I like to eat layers anymore, but you think about a layer. When you cut a slice out of a cake, you're cutting this slice of, say, digital marketing, and then it's got all these layers to it, and you can start digging down through these layers. And there's so much you can look at, but if all you're looking at is, someone saying, hey, you should look at Facebook advertising or Facebook marketing, I mean, that's like one ingredient of one slice of one part of the layer. It really is ridiculous, but I wish I could see it here right away. But I think it's part of this training. You'll see it. And if not, it's, I think, end of April from last year's Ask the Expert call. You can find it there as well. So just educating these business owners, these HVAC owners, that there's other possibilities out there besides, hey, the only way we can sell is because we've got a brand that we're promoting. And yeah, that's good, but they're leaving so much on the table.
Mm-hmm.
No, thank you, David. Appreciate that.
Could not agree with that more. There we go. All right, cool bananas. Okay, folks, well, there we go. We got to shut this down. We'll see you guys. What day it is here? It's Tuesday. So Thursday, we'll see you guys Thursday, same time, same place. Come armed with your questions, and we will get you guys rocking. Oh, Irene said you're making me want cake. There you go. I thought the same thing, Irene. There you go. Okay, appreciate you folks. We'll see you on either on the SE Expert call with Adrian tomorrow or this call with Pat and I on Thursday. Same time, same place. Thanks, folks. Thanks, Kenya, Pat. Appreciate you, bud.